Welcome, friends, old and new. It's intense. It's intense out there. I've been feeling it for a while, and I'm sure that all of you are too. So we wanted to offer class today as public service and as soul medicine. So I'm really glad. Oh, hi, Melissa. Hello, everybody. So I want you to have your tools here: strap, blocks, blanket, whatever you need to really support yourself upright. And really today and every day, like whatever you need to support yourself. Okay. So that's most important. And it's very hard. It's very hard to stay centered when there's a lot of chaos and upheaval and energy like that all around you. Right. So self-care, Donna Karen says there's no healthcare without self-care. So you're really doing a service for everyone around you when you really take care of yourself and really find that center. So we'll start seated. I like to start in Virasana. I'm sitting on a block. Life is easier on a downhill slope. I've been feeling like we're going up a mountain for a little while. So sit well. Have the hips higher than the knees. Rock a little bit right to left. And so in class today, normally my Tuesday class is much more of a hybrid where we get really into the nitty gritty of weight transfers and muscle nuance. We'll do a little bit of that activation today, but also because life is disorganizing and disoriented and life can kind of throw you off balance, how quickly you can recover. That's really what resilience is, right? It's not that you're never going to get sick. It's not that you're never going to be disappointed, but how you can bounce back from that. Is the true measure of good health. Picture yourself on a spit from the center of the universe down through the center of the skull, through the center of the throat, down through the center of the torso. Draw the low ribs in to really spread the wings of the kidneys. So you're 360 degrees, that three-dimensionality. That's going to allow the diaphragm to descend. That's going to, every breath is going to be a stimulation to your digestion, assimilation, processing everything that you take in through your eyes, through your ears, through your nose, through the sense of touch, into the mouth. And then down and taking what you need that's going to nourish yourself, and then all the way out through the perineum onto whatever you're sitting on, and plug yourself in energetically to the earth, right? So you don't have to churn and do it all yourself, but you're really connected to something greater, connected to the planet. And from that rooting down, energy rises up. Take one hand to the center of the chest and one hand to the belly, and just take a moment and connect to your breath. So having really found that energetic spit, the Tai Chi, maybe you have a sense that the breathing is happening all the way around you. And then really hone in on the exhalation. So just extending your exhalation by one count is going to dial up the parasympathetic nervous system, right? Moves us a little bit more into that state of calm, state of passive awareness, state of rest and digest. And if you're very adept at this, you can lengthen the exhale 2 counts. Maybe sit in the pause at the end of the exhalation before the need for the next breath. And then the next breath arises and you're like an empty vessel, just filling imaginatively from bottom to top, side to side, back to front on all 3 axes. And then let the eyes open, release the hands, let the arms just flop down, roll the shoulders up, back, and down several times. Maybe you're feeling like you want to move the neck a little bit, go ahead. You might be feeling little pops, little cracks, little sounds, right? Little bubbles being made in the joint space. Take the arms out to the side, turn the palms up, and feel how that energetically helps to lift the sternum, move the collarbones apart. So you're really framing the shoulder girdle. Take the arms up now in a big V, and I'm having my palms facing up. Palms up, so you're a funnel. Funnel for the breath to come in and down and spread wide. Press your feet down, lift the crown of the head up. Pull yourself apart in 2 directions always to make more space in the interior. Inhale, in and down and wide. Imagine the exhales coming right out through the crown of the head. We're going to go into a round of Kapalabhati. Don't do this if you're pregnant. Inhale and begin. So you see my shirt moving. It's just snapping the belly. You're just focusing on the exhale. The inhale is passive. Pick a count. Stay with it. Out through the nose, out through the nose, out through the nose, out through the nose. This is so good it's a Kriya. So Kapalabhati is the only one that is a Kriya as well as a pranayama. Really getting rid of any stale energy, any stale thoughts, any stale air that sits at the bottom of the lungs and the residual volume. And then new air, fresh air comes in by itself. Do another 10. Press the feet down, interlace the thumbs above you. Reach, 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 reach. Hold empty, hold empty, hold empty. Soften where you can soften. And when that urge to breathe builds, pop the cork, release the arms down. Let the breath flood in without collapsing or shortening anywhere in the waist. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. So nice. Take your hands, interlace them, bring the elbows together, and then just circle the wrist. And so the wrists have a very energetic connotation. You can think of the wrist as a mini collarbone. The way that you just did the figure 8 is the way that you know how to go. So go the other way. And if you've not practiced going the other way, it really builds the neurology, right? You have to think about it for a second. And then release. The wrists are like one of the necks of the body, and it's where things have to narrow into a channel and then spread out again. So go ahead and just move the wrist side to side. But energetically, the wrist, because we're so much in flexion and grasping, it really helps to just like let things go. So how flippant can you be? Go flip your wrist this way. Oh, notice how you fan yourself. So you can use this to cool yourself down. Go the other way again. Flip just the right hand. This is the hand of the liver. And then fan yourself. And then flip just the left hand. This is the hand that handles the heart, your feelings, how you feel about things, your emotions. And then fan yourself with the left hand. Let it go. Interlace the hands. Inhale, elbows high. Exhale, press the hands away. Drop the chin to the chest. Take a breath in between the shoulder blades here. And then inhale, lift the sternum, lift the vision, lift the hands, and then release down. Hopefully you felt like you've kind of centered the shoulders a little bit more. Now we're ready to weight bear on our hands. So we're going to come into a table. Hand, foot is really your base of support here. I'll turn sideways so you can see a little bit better. Tiger, you can switch the camera as well. So your wrists are right underneath the shoulders. The knees are right underneath your hips. Press your feet down so much that you'll feel it that connects to the muscles across the pelvis into the core. So when you don't plug your feet in, your knees take too much weight, press your feet down, lift your knees up, and you'll feel that scooping of the low belly. And then let the knees come back to the floor like they're just kissing the floor. And then we're going to move to the fluidity of the spine. So on the inhale, the front of the spine lengthens. The sternum moves forward. The pubic bone moves back between the legs energetically. And then exhale from the bottom. The tailbone tries to find the pubis. You lengthen and open up the back line of the spine, moving into flexion, which is the primary curve. Inhale again, starting at the bottom. So try not to move from the head first. We're always in our head. We're moving down. It's an hour for yourself to really be embodied, be in your body and connect to the body-mind. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace, luxuriating in your inhale and your exhale and the pause between each. Coordinating breath with movement. Good. And then the next time you're coming to the inhale, come to a neutral spine. Come up on the fingertips, so a little bit more elevation here. And then just walk your hands out on the diagonal to the right. So if you were on a clock face, you're going to feel like your hands are moving out towards 2 o'clock, but your hips are staying facing forward towards 12. On an exhalation, push the ground away and bring your hips down like a child's pose, but your torso is moving to the right. So you'll feel a really nice opening in the left side of the ribs, maybe in the left waist. Let the head stay looking forward slightly, but not cranking. So you don't want to feel anything in the back of the neck. And maybe you can crawl out a little bit more to the right. Keep your left seat on your left heel. Take a big breath into the right side only. And then pull yourself back up. Come back to the middle. You might feel a little longer on the left side versus the right. And then we'll switch. So from your table, walk your hands on your fingertips out over to the left. You may notice that you feel this in a different side, different part of you on the right side right away. Press your feet down. Walk the right hand further, further, further over. And then drip your hips back. Try not to let the hands be pulled back. So there's always in that hatha yoga is like sun and moon. Hatha also means like to force, to strike. And the ha and the tha is that anchoring and yearning. Big breath in through the right nostril into the right lung. Fill up and open up the intercostal muscles between the ribs. Let the exhale make the pelvis heavier. You'll feel little nuances. Inhale, pull yourself back up. Walk yourself back to the table. Hopefully you've grown an inch, at least a half an inch. Tuck your toes underneath. Move your hips back to your heels. So this one, I'll turn sideways. You can see my feet a little bit more. You're really trying to get into the ball of the foot. So the heel stays over. And if you wear shoes that are really tight, your heel will be forward and you'll be just in the toe joints, which will feel horrible. Walk your hands back. Even lift your knees up and really find the bounce of the balls of the feet. Bring the knees back down. Walk your hands all the way up. So you're really sitting on your feet in a flex-toed Vajrasana. And then eventually on the ball of the foot, because balls bounce and we're working on resiliency today, you want to really find that bounce. Reach your arms out and up. And then just apple pick side to side. Let the arms release down, roll the shoulders up, back and down. And we're ready to come into our first downward facing dog. So move your hips back, lift your buttock bones up and back, like you're unfolding from a table and folding into a dog, which means the hinge at the hip is increased. Really feel like that hip crease in the front of the pelvis gets higher and higher and higher. And when you find that loftiness, you're going to feel more space in the armpit, more space in the shoulder joint, more space in the neck, and root down through the balls of the feet. So for the health of the spine, I teach downward facing dog with the heels lifted to lift your butt up off the floor. Yeah, beautiful, KJ. And then the difference between tables and dogs are that dogs need to be walked. So go ahead and walk your dog. Now you can get the calf stretch. Drop the right heel to the floor as you bend the left knee more. And then change. Drop the left heel to the floor as you bend the right knee more. And go slow enough that you can really let the breath, with your imagination, send the breath into the areas that feel like, oh, that's a nice stretch, right? And then lift both heels, bend both knees, and think that your buttock bones are being pulled up and back to the place where the wall meets the ceiling. Nice. And then come forward to plank pose. Some of you will have to scoot your feet back a little bit more. So the shoulders are over the wrists, the heels are over the balls of the feet. Bring your right knee down. Let your chest move forward, and then lift your left leg up behind you. So yeah. So we're activating the hamstring and the glutes on the left side and really balancing on this tripod of right hand, right leg. Then the left leg. You'll feel those hamstrings even more. Lift the left knee just an inch more. So you'll feel the glutes fire in a different place and the hamstrings fire in a different place. And then draw the knee to the nose, really activating the hip flexors. So feel like you're moving through molasses or something and really just isolating the hip. And then push the floor away with the hands so the shoulder blades spread, the belly hollows, and you let the head go and you're looking at the left knee. And then extend the left leg back behind you as you pull the chest forward, get as long as you can, as if you were in Shalabhasana on the left side, the locust pose. And then bring the left leg down. Really balance on the 4, right? Very solid, animalistic. It's primal, the balancing on 4. And then tuck your right toes underneath, move your right leg back. Chest moves forward. So when you lift the leg, don't drop your head. Right leg lifts up, heel slightly higher than the seat. Do not lift your leg so high that you feel it in your lower back. Support that with the lift of the belly. And then bend the right leg. So then we're recruiting more of the hamstrings than just the glute. And then see if you can lift your right knee a little bit higher. And it's like an inch that goes higher, but it's so much deeper. You're firing so many more of the muscle fibers. Pull the chest forward, stay with that energetic back bend. And then keep that energetic back bend as you let the right knee come down, push the floor away, pull the low belly in, release. So it's like we've gone from our cow to our cat spine here. And then extend the right leg back, pull the chest forward, really turning on the whole back line of the body, and then bring your knee down. Child's pose, seat to heels. Elbows come down, maybe stack your fists under your forehead. You can wiggle your hips a little bit right to left, like you're really settling in. So nice. And then we're gonna you're gonna lie down on your side. We'll lie on our right side. We're gonna turn on the side seat. So the outside of the leg, the abductors of the leg, they really help move the leg away from the midline, but we don't man spread all the time unless you ride the New York City subway and take up a lot of space. But really the side of the body, the outer hip and the line of the leg is really for stabilization, right? It's to catch you from falling to the side. And the side seat is very important in our gait, in walking, right? And when it's weak, it can overload specifically the sacroiliac joint. So your legs are bent, heels are in line with the buttock bones, knees are forward. Take your left hand in front of your belly on the ground. It's like a little seatbelt to really engage the core and draw the belly in. Head is in the hand. Other option is to bring your right arm all the way down and your head rest. Especially if you tend to crank the neck, that's a nice option for you. Okay, so we're just gonna do some clamshells. You're gonna pull your toes back, like flex your feet, and then lift the left knee up. So that's side seat. Right away, you should feel side seat lifting up. And then you're gonna lower down and you're gonna lift it up. Now, the thing to watch for, you have your hand in front of your belly. The thing to watch for is you don't lift the knee so high that the hips go back, okay? So think that you're gonna keep your left hip stacked on top of your right. So it's a small movement, but it really gets the job done. And so just doing this little activation of these muscles can turn on neural pathways that tend to be sleepy or kind of disconnected. The next time you lift the left knee up, hold it there, press your heels together. You're gonna feel that so much more intensely. And then lift your feet up. So I'm gonna lift my feet up and orient the whole thing, really keep like your back is against a wall. And then go up an inch, up an inch, up an inch with the knee, up an inch, up an inch, up an inch, and then hold, 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 press your heels together, and then release down. Ha! So nice. Okay, last one we're gonna do is gonna turn on the side, underneath side. So this is like for Vashisthasana. This is like lowering down. So you're gonna take your left hand in front, you're gonna straighten the left leg out, you're gonna lift up onto the elbow, and you're gonna pull up and lift your side underneath. You're gonna slowly lower down. You're gonna bring the right leg down. So if that was too much for you, or you're exhausted in the side seat, you can just think you're gonna lift up from underneath the belly here, and then lower down. And if you want more, you're gonna lift up and straighten the leg. Yes. And then the knee comes in and the side of the seat comes down. So what I don't want you to do is to sink into the shoulder, right? You don't want to load the shoulder. You want to use the underneath side, the internal and external obliques, to find that lift and then lower down. So nice. Flip over to the other side and we'll do our clamshells. And you'll feel this in our standing poses. You might feel a little bit more centered, or you might feel off center because you're finding center a little bit more, or it might feel more of a stretch. So same thing, head in the hands, really let it go, or head all the way down. All right, heels in line with the butt, knees forward. Press your inner heels together, flex your feet, dorsiflexion at the ankle, and then right knee up and down. Now, if you're really feeling what you're feeling inside, you may notice that one leg, you don't have as big of a range of motion, or you feel it much more intensely, or you feel like other parts of the body trying to be helpers and do the work for you. So right hip stays stacked on top of the left. It's a very small, isolated movement. Abduction, working the side seat, gluteus medius, gluteus minimus. And then hold the right leg up. Lift your feet up. And then tiny taps to the right knee, tiny tap, tiny tap. Press your inner heels together, lift up. Pull the belly in. Pull the belly in. When you let the belly spill forward, it makes your lower back grip and clench and do all the work for you. Tiny lift, tiny lift. Press your heels together, lift up, hold, 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 and release down. Straighten the right leg out, lift the right leg up, heel is higher than the toes. Right hand on the floor, come onto the left forearm, really lift up out of the shoulder, pull the belly in, and then lift your hips up. And then lower back down. Now again, you can just hand on the floor, lift the outer seat up, lower down. You can lift the outer seat up without the hand on the floor. You'll feel the work go so much more into the side of the body. Lower down, and you can add the extension of the leg. Oh, so outside from the right side down and underside on the left side. And come back down. Let's do one more. Whoop. Nice. And release. Okay, everything should be humming right now. Take a block. I'm going to face forward. You're going to put it between your legs. And first, I'm just going to give you the option of like, you're hanging out at the beach, chatting with your friends on a blanket. And all I want you to do is not let that block fall, okay? So we would have tendencies of one leg would kind of want to go out and the block would fall. So right away, just holding neutral, there has to be some what's called tonus in the muscles, right? Like just what they need to do to hold you upright. So I just want you to hug the block and feel like you're just beginning to turn the volume up to where you can hear it. And what you may notice is the more that you hug the block and use those adductor muscles, the more you're going to start to feel it in the low belly. And you can absolutely stay here and smile, but be working really hard or just more than usual down below. And if you want more of a challenge, you can take one arm off. And when you take one arm off, you'll feel it go right into that side of the core. And if you took one arm off, switch and take the other arm off. Yes. And then if you want more of a challenge, take both arms off. Hug the block more. And then from here, lift your feet up. So you have a shelf with your shins. Pull the belly in. So we're really working on that core strength so we can remain true to our core values regardless of outcomes. And then go up an inch, back an inch, up an inch, back an inch. Make sure you're not doing this with your neck. Up an inch, back an inch, up an inch, back an inch, up an inch, hold, squeeze the block, squeeze the block, squeeze the block, hold the knees, elbows wide, and then come forward, release the block, crisscross your legs, and just a little fold forward. You can walk your hips back. So again, just letting it go. Make sure like wiggle the fingers. You're not holding on to anything. Lift up, separate your legs, spread them out like a Vishta Konasana. I'll scooch back. We won't be here long. And then just walk your hands forward any amount. So I don't want you to round forward, right? We're not caving in. We're still moving up. You're still moving forward. That's going to take it into the backs of the legs and the inside of the legs. And then come back. And then the way that you cross your legs, cross them the other way. And then come forward. Take a big breath in wherever you're probably feeling this more on one side of the back or one seat, right? Maybe the leg that's closer in. And then come up. If you can transition from cross-legged pose back to a table, do that. Otherwise, swing your legs around. And we're going to go into a dog pose. Really notice how this one feels compared to the one that we've done before. So you have a lot more activation in the side body, in both the core and the lateral sheath of the legs. Go ahead and walk your dog. Come forward to plank pose. Bring the right knee down, so you're back in this tripod. From here, external rotation in the left hip. So the foot's going to come to the floor. The heel comes to the midline. So just external rotation and then back to neutral. You again should be feeling a lot through the left core, outer seat. Can you keep weight evenly distributed so you don't just dump into the right hand when you turn the left foot in? And now use that underneath the seat. Come onto the left fingertips. Pull the belly in. Sweep the arm up. So you're in the side Vashisthasana with the right shin on the ground. Pull yourself apart. Find the outer left heel on the ground and reach through the crown of the head. The left arm comes over the ear. Open up the lung. Get more space for the breath. And then the left arm just dangles in front of you. Use the underside of your belly. Lift the left heel. Pull the belly in. So you're not dumping into the right hip during the transition. Bring your left foot down. You're in a table pose, 4 on the floor. Wag your tail from side to side, like you would wag your tail in a dog pose. Yes. Straighten the left leg back. Tuck the toes underneath. Pull the chest forward. Now just external rotation. Bring the heel to the floor. Bring the heel back up. So feel how it starts to turn the pelvis to the right, and then you orient forward again in the direction you're going, right? So this is the way to come from like being a little disoriented or discombobulated back to chart your course. Right foot comes down. Outer hip to outer heel, root down. Right fingertips come on the floor. Pull the belly in. Press your left foot down. And then sweep the right arm all the way out. Lift up out of the supporting shoulder. Ground through the outer foot, the back leg to really find that. And then reach the right arm over the ear to get more opening through the right side of the waist, the right intercostal muscles between the ribs. And then let the wrist dangle. Now let the elbow dangle. Now pull the belly, left side of the belly, up and in, lift up out of that left hip as you transition back. And then the left foot meets the right and you're in plank pose. And you're on the balls of your feet and you're on the knuckles of the hand and it's buoyant and it's light. Pull it back to a dog pose. Let your head release. So if you need to change the distance between your hands and feet, plank pose is a good way to measure that. Lift your heels, bend the knees, go up the backs of the legs, and then wag your tail from side to side because it's nice to be a happy dog. We're really into dogs here at Better Yoga. All right. Walk your feet forward. Walk your hands back. Come into a hang. Come into a hang. If you have your blanket nearby, it's a very nice tool to just put the blanket under your heels. Just that little nudge forward gets you off the heels, which will take the work out of the back of the spine opening up, which can be a hindrance to the discs, and puts you in the middle of your legs, which puts you in the middle of your spine. So you're not blowing the nucleus back. Let the head go. And when you really keep shifting forward to the balls of your feet, you're going to be able to bend the knees as much as you need to. So your chest is on your thigh. So we teach these folds, these hangs, or uttanasana in Sanskrit. We teach these with the chest on the thigh, which really takes the work out of the back. You shouldn't feel anything in your back. And you may be able to take a hold of opposite elbows here. And then like an elephant trunk, you just drape the upper body over the lower body. And this pose specifically, we're really like in the fall, right? Moving towards winter. These are poses that build strength and stamina in the legs. So if you're feeling a knot in the legs, congratulations, you're doing it right. Walk your hands forward beyond the fingertips. And then just bend the leg and straighten them. Never jamming the knee back. So bend and straighten. Feel the confluence between the hip joints, the knee joints, and the ankle joints. And if you're limited in a range of motion in one, you're gonna overburden the other. And then come all the way down into a squat. You can hold opposite elbows. You can see how, again, I'm still on the blanket, so I'm lift a little forward, knees filling up the armpits, and then I'm sitting back. So you're never feeling it anywhere, right? As Mr. Iyengar used to say, you know you're in right alignment when you feel the pose everywhere and nowhere in particular. So nice. Okay, so you're gonna come all the way to your seat. Now I'm sitting on the blanket, which is a nice little elevation. I'm just gonna separate your feet. So they're a little bit wider. I'll switch back a little bit more. They're as wide, a little wider than the mat. It's not about like splaying the groin very much. Shake your legs out. Okay, from here, you're just gonna crawl your fingertips forward. Again, we're working on this first fold. So the hips are turning over the thigh bones and you're not moving the lower spine back to collapse and come forward. And so for some of you, that might just be here, which is so much more in alignment of opening up where it needs to open and letting the energy and the prana really circulate and move rather than thinking you have to get your head to the floor, right? There is two different poses, and one is a pose of collapse and the other one is integration. Walk your hands over to the right diagonal as if your chest is going to aim over and beyond your right knee. Now, as you do this, this is lateral flexion of the spine. It's a precursor to a twist, right? We're lengthening the left side, reaching the left hand, but not squishing the right. And so some of you can begin to come really over that right leg, wake up the feet, press the center of the back heel into the floor, and then come back to the middle and find a little bit more of that uprightness of the chest and moving forward with the vision. And then walk your hands out and over to the left. The left hand comes to the outside of the left leg. Reach through the right leg. And notice how when you reach through the right leg, it helps orient you in the direction that you're going. Maybe you come further. Some of you maybe only bring the elbows to the ground. And when you do that, again, it's like you've lowered the second floor down to the ground. You're going to really feel that deeper and lower down underneath yourself. Good. Come back to the middle, walk your hands back. And again, to really work and ignite on that core, you're going to be from here, bring your feet together, Baddha Konasana. You can hold the ankles. Draw your inner thighs together. Bring your legs together, straighten your legs, Dandasana. Pull in, use your core. Come back, Baddha Konasana. So really building our core strength, building the integration of the floors. Upavishta Konasana. Everything starts from that low belly, back to Baddha Konasana and back to Dandasana. And then cross your legs, come through. The blanket is there. You can move it out of the way. Come back into dog pose as if you're going to go into child's pose. So move your hips back and then lift your butt up, 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 up. And then walk your dog. Go from hand to hand, foot to foot. Lengthen the calves. Nice. Lift both heels up, bend the knees, feel the pelvis turn over the thighs. And then come forward to plank pose. And all that work that we did, all 4 layers of the belly, really feel that it helps support you. So create the action that you're going to pull your lower arms into the midline. That's going to take the work out of dumping in the outer shoulder. It's going to really help turn on the anterior core. And then keep that as you come back to a dog pose. And now, because we've done all this work in outer hips and all the layers of the core, you should feel more integrated when you start to move your limbs. So reach the right leg back and up behind you in a down dog split, but bend the left knee. That's going to help you turn the right hip open and take the leg even higher and then pull the heel to the butt. So unlike when we did it before from table and we were coming out of gravity, you don't have to do anything, the hamstrings, you just let the heel flop. But then lift the knee higher so you're lengthening the quads and the hip flexors of the front of the back leg thigh. Bring your right foot forward, pull the knee to the nose, push the ground away, and then kick your foot forward. Come into a lunge. Nice. I'm getting very warm. I hope you guys are starting to get warm too. Emily's still wearing her sweatshirt, so I'm doubtful. Okay, take your hands out. Like I have can you spread your wings here? My chest is on my thigh. My back leg is working so hard. I'm anchoring there. I'm orienting there. And then my back knee comes down as my front knee moves forward. Slowly plug the foot in. So the back knee lowers like a plumb line. It doesn't pull forward. Now from here, we're going to come up into Anjaneyasana, but I want you to come up by going forward. So notice my pelvis is not moving back. I'm unfolding in the hip joint. I'm not using my back to come up. Take the arms up again. It's going to help open the windows of the lungs. And I just have made the sun come out from that. Can you lift your right heel up? That's it. If you can lift easily the right heel and come onto the ball of the front foot, you're going to be moving forward enough, right? The ball of the foot is the part that propels us forward, right? So you keep marching on. Nice. Release the arms down, roll the shoulders. Take the hands back behind you and turn the palms forward. And if you had a strap, you could like pull the strap apart. You have to feel this opening in the upper chest. Then you can bring the hands back behind you and interlace the fingers. So you have to create that external rotation. You can roll the shoulders up, back, and down, and then reach through the elbow, lift the chin a little bit more, and then keep that length of the front body to lay yourself back down. And you may notice if your knee meets your armpit. And if you're back here, your back body is locked long and your front body is locked short. And you should do 108 more of those lunges and the lift up. Now lift your back knee up off the floor, plug in your foot, and then fold forward, Parsvottanasana. So one more time, getting into the hamstrings. Now we're lengthening the hamstrings. Think that you're gonna stay out of the outer heel, plug in the big toe mound, walk your hands wider, and then pull that right buttock bone back. You'll feel a nuance of all the hamstrings instead of just the one that you know how to lengthen. Rebend the right leg. Walk your hands over to the left. Walk, 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 walk. Spin on the right heel and the ball of the left foot, and you're in Prasarita Padottanasana. Just fold forward. Let the head go. Shift out of the heels. So the hips are going to come, for a lot of people, the hips are behind the feet, and that puts a lot of pressure on the back of the knee and on the lower back. So shift forward into the balls of the feet and let the torso really drape over the legs. Nice. Stay in the legs. Soft knee. You're going to feel all the muscles that we really engage to stabilize yourself here. Lift the chest. Come onto the fingertips. Bend your knees a lot. Bend your knees a lot so the hips actually lower down, right? You want to lower, like when we did that little squat before. Bend the knees, plant your feet. Now create the action that you're ripping your mat apart. So the feet are like pressing wide, and you're going to engage again the lateral muscles of the hips. You should feel that. Nice. Take your left hand underneath your nose, right in the middle, and then just sweep your right arm up. Keep pressing your feet down and apart. Right arm comes over the ear like you're doing a front crawl, and the right hand comes right down where the left hand is. Pull your feet apart, especially the right one, so you stay centered. Left hand comes out to the side. Left hand comes over the ear. Look at the hand. So you're literally swimming, and you may feel a lot of little adjustments in the neck here. This really helps you find that spiral action. Let's do this one more time, but this time, instead of taking the hand out to the side, take the hand back behind you and look at it. So the torso is really going to do this whole figure eight. Right arm reaches way over the left diagonal, comes down. Left hand goes out to the left hip. Look at your hand the whole time. So you get this beautiful work in the cervical spine, getting stable through the pelvis. And then walk your hands out and over to the right. Spin on the balls of both feet, and you're back in this lunge at the front of your mat. Right foot meets the left. Chest forward. Heels up and back. And then pull it into a dog pose. Wag your tail from side to side. Left leg back and up behind you. Bend the right knee. So work on that fold across the front of the pelvis on the right side, and work on the extension on the left. flop the heel to the butt. So the quads have to lengthen. Send the left knee higher, 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 higher. Keep pressing the floor away with the left hand. And then come forward to plank. Now use that, not momentum. I'm lifting my left leg up, and then I'm actively using my hip flexors, pulling the knee to the chest, pushing the ground away. Keep your hips high, and then you can just bring the foot forward. So if the hips stay high, you have room to step the foot through. Walk your hands right to left. Wiggle the waist long. Knee moves into the armpit as the right knee lowers down. Keep the foot plugged in. It's going to be like, oh, that's different than if you were just plunk down. Keep the hips moving forward. Anchor through the back foot. And then again, come forward to come up. Let the arms reach up. You can keep your arms wide. So if your shoulders feel really stiff and tight and limited in flexion, keep your hands wider. Making a big funnel like we did at the beginning of class. Plug in the back foot, send the left knee forward, lift the chest up. Taking hold of opposite elbows is also a really nice way to give you a little more contact. Pull yourself apart. Find those three directions. Ball the left foot, ball of the right foot, elbows, hands, crown of head reaching up. It's going to open the lungs. I'm going to let them move forward and take in more air. Release the arms down. Roll the shoulders. Okay, keep that length, right? Take the hands back, turn the palms out, even more of an external rotation, and then lay yourself down. Can you fit the armpit to the knee? Keep moving the chest forward and anchoring through the back foot. Now let's do a little circle in the hips here. Go around yourself. Yes, you want to keep everything juicy, right? So you bounce. Circle the other way. Okay. Lift the back thigh. Stay so strong in that back leg. Fold forward. Walk your hands further forward and further out. So really, I'm just on the fingertips, and they're like a little kickstand in case I teeter off to one side. That puts more weight through my left leg, which is going to increase my mobility and flexibility. So it'll increase the flexibility of the muscles, which can increase mobility in the joints. Let the head go. Move your right butt over to its own side. Rebend the left knee. Walk your hands over to the right diagonal. Keep the left knee going forward, so don't let the knee cave with you. And then just keep walking. Spin on the back foot, on the front heel. Spin on the ball of the back foot. And then you're in Prasarita Padottanasana facing the other way. Let your head go. Some of you can begin to make your hands, walk your hands back so they're in line with your feet. And some of you can even bring your hands through and kind of pull the floor towards you. Keep shifting forward with your hips. So you feel the weight. Your toes will start to grip if you go too far. Lift from the back of the knee up to the buttock bones. Let the head unravel, right? Let the neck unravel. I mean, it works so hard for you all the time. And then lift your chest, walk your hands forward, move your hips. So don't let your hips come forward. You're going to stay, it's almost like a dog pose with your feet really wide. So you're draping yourself over your legs here. Okay. This one's really fun. So I'll turn forward. So let's not at the camera. Come up onto the fingertips. You're going to bend the right knee only. All right. So I'm going to bend my right knee. My hips are sliding to the right, and you're getting a stretch on the inside of the left thigh. My hands stay in the middle. I'm going to push into that right foot, straighten the legs, come back to this pyramid pose, and then bend the left knee. Hips slide to the left. You're getting the opening on the inside of the right thigh. I'm going to do that a couple of times. So again, it's you're flexing on one side, and you're opening the opposite side on the inner seam of the leg. So keep connected to the pinky toe side of the straight leg. You'll feel it all the way up and down the line of the adductor muscles, like 5 muscles from along the whole line of the inner thigh. Come back one more time to the right. Come back one more time to the left. And eventually you want to do this with a long spine, right? Eventually you can do this with your hands up off the floor, almost like an airplane. And then eventually you kind of skip the middle and your hips stay low. So you're really engaging and working all the muscles of the legs and the hips. Okay, come back to the middle. Weight on the fingertips, so it's very light. From here, you're gonna walk your left hand forward. So you can really see the geometry kind of lining up here. And you're gonna aim your right arm underneath, like you're scooping. And my chin meets my armpit. So my right hand is just crawling over to the left. And I can even bend my right elbow towards the floor to really bring the right side of the ribs underneath me. Feels so good. Come back up. Right hand comes to the middle. Left hand scoops underneath. You may feel where it's harder to twist. So the more the right hand crawls forward, the more the left hand comes underneath. Maybe you're going to bend that left elbow towards the floor. Keep pressing your mat away with both feet. Oh, so good. Come back to the middle. Okay, I had turned on my mat, so I think you guys are still oriented to the left. So then pivot on your feet, bend the left knee. You're in a lunge. Ooh, your legs should feel like a real warrior. Left foot meets the right. Plank pose. Knees down. Seat back to the heels. Really nestle in and then stack your hands, or maybe now you're folding so well that your forehead meets the ground. You can put a little block or a blanket underneath or your hands. And then see if you bring your hands next to your body, right? So the hands are really facing up like the soles of your feet, or you can even connect your hands to your heels and really nestle in. And just come back and take several breaths into any part of your body, A, that feels like it really needs the stretch, or B, any place in your body that still feels tight. Yeah, so nice. Can you descend the breath all the way down to the wings of the kidneys? And you'll feel this like widening, almost like a sunburst opening. And then that creates the spaciousness for the next inhale to come all the way down, all the way to the front side of the sacred bone. And then you're in the watery realms of the pelvis there. So let that breath go all the way down and fill up the bowl, right? Pelvis means bowl or basin. Fill up the basin with breath. So nice. Let's lift up here. We're going to start to bring it down to the ground and cool down a little bit. So get your blanket or whatever you use for pigeon pose. The one caveat that I don't want you to put the block, which might be what you're not used to, I don't want you to put the block under your front leg buttock bone, right? That's like a crutch that just encourages you to dump in that place. You can use it if it's going to level the pelvis, but what I like to do, and I don't have my regular blanket here, is I like to make a little bike seat with my blanket. So I really have something to be in the middle on. So I'll just show you from here. I like to come in from a dog pose. The right knee doesn't come straight forward. You have to add that external rotation. And so if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can do this like with gravity. You can turn. The buttock bone comes under. You go to that external rotation, and then you come in. So my foot is not on the blanket at all. That will distort the knee. And I'm using this to find the center. So you can roll up a blanket or a towel and put it right underneath yourself. Hands go right to left. Gather the arms into the shoulder socket to help lift and support the chest. Your back foot, I want it in line with the knee and the buttock bone. So now, well, that you've done that, go ahead and look where you're right. And now if your right hip, caveat, because if your right hip is tight, your sneaky body will move that left foot out to the side. So if it's out on the edge of your mat and you're like, okay, come on in, come back to the middle or to its own side. And you'll notice you'll feel that right hip right away a little bit more. Now start to come forward. Same thing. I don't want anyone rounding their back to come forward. I want you to think that you're going to stay in that energy of the presenting yourself, right? The front body is our potential. So we always want to open up potential here. Move the hands a little further forward. I like to be on the fingertips. It keeps it light. And as I pull my chest forward, I move my hips back like I'm kind of backing into a space. So you refine the first fold of the right hip, which opens up the back and underside of that right hip. And then maybe the elbows come down. Same thing when you lower the torso, you're feeling it more underneath you there as well. Some of you can come even further forward. If you're on a blanket, put your head on a block or a blanket. Don't dangle the head down. You don't want that energy of a nosedive. No crash landings here for the pigeons. And then ever so slightly move your hips to the left, which will get you up off your right butt. So if I were to take a photo of you from above, your right butt cheek and your left butt cheek should look even. In your mind's eye, pull the right buttock bone back even as you reach through the inner right heel. And then let the weight of the torso go. Let your left shoulder release. Everyone just release your left shoulder and notice how much more sensation you have in the right hip, right? And so that's that compensatory pattern, using, without even being aware of using that left shoulder to kind of lift the energy up, difficulty off that right hip. Walk your hands back. Come all the way back up. Now we're going to add an extra fold. You can just see where you're at. So from here, you're just going to use the hamstrings of the back leg. Pull the heel to the left. So again, you're working the back leg and you're lengthening. So we're getting into the outside underside of the right hip and the front side of the left. Now, if this is easy for you, you're using the muscle. You can relieve the muscle contraction by taking the left hand back to the foot and kick the foot into the hand. So same hand, same leg. And the more you can kick this left foot into the hand, it's like, oh, I'm not like sinking into my right anymore, right? It's engaging. Maybe the right hand comes to the right knee, lift the chest, left heel comes out to its own side and release. And we'll do all of that on the other side. So come through dog pose, use everything we've had, right? So like, how can you come out of this space efficiently and not by wearing and tearing on the joints? Left knee out to its own side. Think the left knee is going towards that 10 o'clock position. Left heel clears. You'll have one, right? We have like a better side in a lot of our yoga poses. So maybe the left, the foot's a little further forward. Maybe it was the other one. Now think about where your right heel is. Dial the heel like a joystick, like if you ever played any video games or anything. Move that right heel out to its own side. That's going to widen the buttock bone out. You will feel, because you're really lengthening the muscle fibers on the left, because you're not dumping into it, right? And so these little verbal cues, these little nuances really help you find your center and help you go to places where you don't normally go. That they're blind spots for you, let's say. Walk your hands out. Gather the arms in to lift and support the chest. Reach through the inner left heel. And then maybe crawl forward a little bit. Anchor through the back foot. And do the whole thing again. Move your right heel out. Move your butt over to the right. Crawl yourself further over. So eventually the elbows come down and you're not rounding your back. Eventually you're reaching out through the crown of the head and the tailbone. The trajectory of the tailbone is towards the right heel, not your left buttock bone. So nice. Can you relax the shoulders? Even like wiggle the shoulders a little bit. Can you wiggle the fingers, circle the wrist? Just be with the sensation, even if it's difficult. And breathe through it. Walk your hands back, lift the chest. Gather the knees, front knee, back knee, pull towards each other. That's going to help lift you upright. It'll take some of the pressure off your back to hold you up. And then just add the right leg bending. Right? You can see my foot behind me. And then same hand, shoulder extension reaches back, maybe take the hold of the ankle. Feel how much weight you have in that left hand. Press the left shin down instead. Kick the right foot back. Oh, that opens up the sail of the chest. Don't need the hand on the floor. Maybe it comes to the knee. Right heel out to its own side. So right ribs come forward and you are oriented still on that energetic spit, head over chest. Shoulders eventually over the pelvis. Release down. So nice. Bring your right leg around. Crisscross. Sit in any position. Maybe the way you started in Virasana is good. And just take a moment. Notice what has shifted. Notice how you feel. All the places that have been worked, that are circulation has been going, muscles really engaged, full of blood, oxygenated in the tissues. And a little bit like a snow globe, right? That's been like shaken up. Some of the poses might have stirred things up, right? They were designed to. Let it settle. Let the breath come in and down, spreading wide to the peripheries. And then from the periphery, imaginatively, the breath comes back into that central channel and up and out through the nose. So you inhale in and down and wide. And you exhale back up and out without disturbing the wings of the nostrils. Can the breath become quieter? Smoother? And slower? Right, the real barometer for your reaction to stress. And the ability to down-regulate even amidst chaos. I'm going to invite you now to do a little Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, which is so powerful as a pranayama to help with that down regulation. Just move this on in the light. And traditionally, you will have been taught it with the releasing the fingers down and to use, the fingers to block off one nostril and then the other, right? So I'm going to ask you to try today, if you feel so inclined, instead, because we teach in our practice a lot of the theory of fitting ourselves, right? So the fist is a ball, the armpit is a mitt, the knee is a ball, the armpit is a mitt. You can use the hand to fist. So you're going to think of the thumb as a little ball and the nostril as a little mitt. And so rather than, because the tissue of the nose is so delicate, it's actually same as erectile tissue. And so a lot of people, when I see them doing alternate nostril breathing, they're like being really aggressive with their nose. So all you need to do is plug it. So actually, let's just do some left side breathing first. So inhaling through the left nostril. So it's a perfect fit. Your thumb fits your right nostril perfectly. And then take your left thumb to your left nostril and breathe through the right channel. Pingala Nadi. The left one is Ida. And they're the second and third most major of the nadis after Sushumna, right, which correlates to the front of the spine. And so I like to interlace my hands and just have my thumbs up, which in and of itself is a mudra. So you're going to sit well. You're going to inhale. Right thumb will close the right nostril. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Left thumb closes the left nostril. Release the right. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Switch the thumbs. Exhale left. Inhale left. Switch, release, exhale right. So keep this going and notice again, like it just creates this perfect seal without any aggression, without any pushing or shoving. There's never a pushing and a shoving in yoga. You have a pushing and a shoving, you're going to put forces through the ligaments and your joints will fall apart eventually. We do yoga to be freer in our bodies, to be more well-rounded, integrated, to keep our mind while we have our body and to keep our body pliant while we still have our mind. The next time, no rush, the next time you're going to exhale through the right nostril, release both hands, and then inhale through both. And notice how you feel. Right? That really weaves together. The same time we bring our legs together, across our legs, or bring our palms together, you are weaving across the great divide in the brain. So you're literally weaving the right and left hemispheres of the brain, integrating all aspects of yourself. Now bring the hands together, right and left hand, that third hand. And in our practice, the third hand has to do with the thymus gland, right? Which was like the seat of immunity when you were growing, but it's how you handle things. And is that real room of your own, right? It's the I of the practice. So it's where your gifts and your talents and everything you've learned along the way come together. And then this is your offering, Anjali Mudra, right? It's like an offering. So you can even open the palms here. Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much. Vote. Use your voice and stay calm.
Thanks, Kari. That was
Thank you,
perfect.
Kari.